Chapter 15. Legitimate. Mr. President, I have a threefold recommendation. First, use your vast communication resources to advocate for your own ideology. Emphasize safety, stability, and loyalty. These are widely popular ideals that do not run directly counter to the ideals of the Sparrows and, therefore, may gain widespread acceptance. Secondly, until you reinstate a constitution, you are delaying a promise to the people and giving the Sparrows a legitimate grievance. I suggest putting an official end to the suspension of the old United States Constitution and the announcement of a construction period in which new America would develop its new Constitution. Finally, I suggest you have advocates write into the new Constitution mechanisms for ensuring national security and stability. Now it was President Connor's turn to take a few minutes for his own analysis. He looked at the Adams droid, and then at the analyst, and then back to Adams. The analyst did not dare speak. Safety, stability, and loyalty. I like that. What kind of people fight for the safety and stability of their country? What kind of people are loyal to their country? The president asked rhetorically. Patriots, the analyst blurted out, and then he almost immediately regretted his impulse. Patriots, the president repeated. Patriots were a crucial part of the birth of the United States and the creation of the U.S. Constitution. Now it is time to create a new Constitution, and we will call on the patriots of New America to do the same. I like it. The Sparrows are advocating for a Bill of Rights, but the patriots will be writing the entire Constitution. I think we may finally have something that can take down those damned Sparrows, and they won't even see it coming. Here are some insights. For context, after the desert torture incident in which the Sparrows were rescued and the government was made to look pretty bad because of what they attempted, they're kind of laying low and they're switching to a more political strategy. When they realized when they tried that outright violence and torture and intimidation, the Sparrow press was able to kind of turn that propaganda on its head, and they lost some legitimacy. A lot of people started believing the Sparrows, so it kind of backfired on them. So they're switching to a political strategy, and it's smart because if you think about it, what is wrong with a slogan of safety, stability, and loyalty? Is there anything wrong with that? And what's wrong with being safe and stable and loyal to your government? Well, nothing, of course. But you're in a situation where people feel like their rights are not guaranteed, and they're calling for their rights to be guaranteed. So when you come up with safety, stability, and loyalty, what that does is it refocuses people. It kind of comes from the side, refocuses people away from demanding rights. It makes them look backwards at everything that was so bad and so terrible before, and it kind of invokes this sense of fear of not wanting to go back to the way things were before. And then you use that fear and you kind of mix that with ignorance, and you sort of have you create this mindset of, we can't ever go back. So decisions start to be based on fear and ignorance instead of truth and love. And, being willing to speak up for what's real, and also, caring about each other and taking care of each other instead of being afraid of each other. It's a completely different mindset. So if you think about it, is President Connor's motivation necessarily bad? He's obviously the bad guy in this story, and, they're having to fight him to get rights back. But if you think about where New America was before and, what he brought America through in the transition, his motivation's not necessarily bad. He wants stability in a country that went through terrible instability. But once that stability has been achieved, it comes to a point where you need to continue to develop society and you need to protect people's rights. And he is resisting that because he's still stuck in that fear and ignorance and, protectionist mindset. And it makes you think, what is the ultimate source of stability? Is it military control, or is it a flourishing democracy? And, what kind of a mindset gets you there? So that's something to think about. So let's look forward to Chapter 16. Let's see if the Sparrows win any more elections, and let's see if they make any more progress in trying to get a constitution written and ratified. They're certainly going to take the lead in that, but they got to move fast because President Connor, he's already taken advice from Adams, and he's going to try to take the lead in writing a constitution, and he's going to try and make sure it has what he wants in it, so he's got control. So now they're going to be kind of vying on a political level who's going to be able to have the most say in the new Constitution. So, and also, even though they're taking a more political stance, they haven't necessarily given up violence and intimidation as a tactic. They're just doing it more secretly now. So let's look forward to chapter 16. Let's see where they go, and let's see if we've got any more problems with New America trying to use violence and intimidation against the Sparrows.